Hi, welcome to another Pygamepi production. My name is Derek Hoyt, and this is Java video number 3. In this video, I'll be showing you how to use if statements. Don't worry, it's not as complex as it seems. It's really, if you stick to the basics, remember the basic things about them, you won't get lost too much. And anyways, so let's get started. So an if statement is basically, I'll just type it out. It'll be easier to explain what it is if I just type it out. So start out, we go if. It's called an if statement, so we start out with if. Well, it's so crazy. Who would have thought? Anyways, so then we do some parentheses, and then let's first make a variable. I'm gonna make an integer. I'm gonna call it num1, and I'm gonna set it equal to, just set it equal to 0. So then we come in here in the parentheses, and so what an if statement does is it compares something, and then depending on the comparison, it comes up with a conclusion, basically. So it's a little easier to understand if you see it and explain at the same time. So let's just put num1. And then after what you're checking, your variable that you're checking, or whatever you're checking, comparing it to something, after that you have to have some sort of comparison operator, which are called if statement operators or something like that. I can't completely remember right. So to check to see if it's equal to something else, if I want to check to see if it's equal to like 5, I'll use two equal signs, and you have to do two equal signs because in programming, to set the value of a variable, you use one equal sign. So if you use 1 in here, then it'll be like, oh, I'm setting num1 equal to 5. That's not what you want. You want it to compare it to 5. So use two equal signs. If you want to see if it's less than, then use less sign. Less than sign. If you want greater than sign, or you can see if it's greater than or equal to 5, which is greater than sign and an equal sign. You can also do the same with less or equal to. Sorry, kept pressing shift, and so it'll check to see if it's less than or equal to 5. You can also see if it's not 5, and use an exclamation mark equals, and that means if. So you'll read it if num1 not equal to 5, and then it'll do stuff. So after that, you'll want to put some curly braces, just like this function up here has. You can either put it right here and hit enter, and it'll make another curly brace and end it for you, or you can do it down here. I prefer that. Just make a curly brace, and those are right next on the right side of P. You'll see braces. To get the curly brace, you use shift, and after you make one, you just have to hit enter, and it'll make the other one. So basically what this says is if num1 not equal to 5, do this. So let's print something to the screen. So system dot out dot print ln print line, and let's just say num1 is not equal to 5. So let's run this and see what happens. So run it, and then here's the output. Num1 is not equal to 5. And why that is because our num1 is equal to 0, not 5. So this comparison is true because num1 is not equal to 5. So it does this stuff. That's That's literally all that does and all that means. Super simple, and seriously not too complex. Just know that that's what it does. That's how you do it. With if statements, you can also have else if statements. But to do an else if statement, you always have to have an if statement, because I mean you can't like say else if this equals this or whatever, because that doesn't make any sense. Nobody talks like that. Else if I'm gonna jump off a building or something, you know? It doesn't make any sense. So you have to have an if before. So then after that it's the exact same thing. You just compare num less than 5. I'm going to actually change this to equals 5, because then it'll be false. You'll see what happens. And then you also have to do the curly braces. And then let's have a conclusion, something that it does if this if statement is true. So system.out.println num1 is less than 5. Oops, 5. Oh, and then semicolon. So it'll start by checking this. So if num1 equals 5, which it's not, so it'll skip over this and then go else if num1 less than 5, do this. So that's exactly how it will run, because that's how we set it up. So let's run it and see what happens. Again with the output. Num1 is less than 5, because this statement is true, it outputs that. Okay, so yeah, that's an else if statement. It's basically the same, exact same as an if statement, just it gives your if statement something else to compare it to. So you can have multiple comparisons before you get the conclusion you want or you should get in your program. Okay, so there's one more, it's called else. And basically what it does is, after all these other comparisons are checked, if it gets to an else, at the end, it'll always run the else, no matter what, because it doesn't have any comparison. So you can either do it on the same line, like, I'll just show you here, system.out.println semicolon. So you can either just put it right here, and num1, no, we don't know what num1 is. So yeah, you can either do it like that, and when you run that, oh, I forgot. Let's do set. I'm gonna put that to greater than, because then it'll come out false. So let's run that, and then here's the output. We don't know what num1 is. So even though it didn't have any comparison, still ran because everything else was false. So yeah, so you can also do it in curly braces like that, so you can have other system can output other stuff or do other stuff, and you just keep it in here, and whatever happens in there, in here, whatever you put in here will get outputted. So if I run that again, you actually get 2, because I did it twice. So yeah, that's if statements. I don't know if you'll be using else, but I'm pretty sure you'll be using else if. It's not super complicated. Use basically the same pattern all the time like this. You just have to remember the few basic things, put in parentheses, the operators, if, else, keep your semicolons, use brackets, whatever. So yeah, that's super basic if and else statements and how to use them. I don't really have, so yeah, I'll see you in the next video.